people, I know there's quite a bit of people that have been looking forward to this because they've kind of reached out and said, "Hey, is he back?" I said, "Well, no, we're gonna find out."
That is true. I don't know if I'm back.
So
Um,
you're backish, we'll call it that.
back ish. That's fair. I still don't have a direct answer to that right now.
Yeah. Well, for those that are you guys that are joining us today, obviously you don't need an introduction if you're here today. Um, if it, uh,
No,
Trent, well done, Tanks, is a gentleman that's been doing this for quite a while, and I know I've been following Trent. Let me put it to you like this: I remember following when it used to be. I think it was Michael, Peter, and yourself when you guys were doing some of the live streams.
that
So
I look back; those were good times. I mean, I've we've had some. Well,
yeah, I know.
but I miss
We
those
don't.
times. I actually do miss those times.
And life happens and changes happen, and that's just human nature. And then I've followed your progression since then. Um, it's been real pleasant to see you guys really grow in general. I know Michael kind of stepped away because he was going to focus more on his photography, and he was, I guess, getting married,
He is
and then
engaged. Yeah, me and him. I would say is communicating through like Facebook posts and Instagram posts a thing. Like, is that the world we live in now? Because that's honestly how me and
yeah,
Michael. I think we comment on each other's stuff every now and then. We keep up with each other a little bit. I know he's engaged. I think he's working. What did he do? He shut down his photography business. He's working as a social media manager now in a large company standpoint. He still has multiple tanks running. And it's it's like me. This is ever since I entered the hobby. There's only been one other time that I have not had like an active. Well, I do have an active fish tank in the home right now, but I only have two, and that's because my daughter has one. Like, there's only two tanks in my house right now. That's because my daughter has one. Where normally people watching the channel, I've had 10 at minimum. Like, I've never just been down, to one that I actively work with, play with, and that. It's weird.
yeah. No, I know I took almost like a 20-year hiatus between aquariums. I was when I was younger, I kept some convict cichlids. I only had one aquarium, and I remember the day I bought it, I was so excited. And it was interesting because nobody in my family, I mean, literally nobody in my family is into the hobby. Where did I get that? I have no idea, because it wasn't like I saw somebody that taught me the hobby. No, it was just I remember ever since being a kid, just finding it fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always a very hyperactive kid. I mean, I could not, even to the day you see me fidgeting here. I can't sit still for very long. But I've noticed that spending time in here, I can sit here for hours and just stare at aquariums. That
Yeah,
is
you just
by
chill.
far, by far, that is my favorite thing to do, especially at night when everything kind of darkens out and I can just selectively turn on the lights that I want. And I would just sit there, and my wife will come in. She goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm just chilling." It's just I find that so soothing that that's the only reason why I really keep aquariums. And once you get started, you always get bit by the bug, and then you overreach, and then
Sure.
you gotta bring it back to a manageable amount. But
Can
that's
you
just
can
I
you
think
sorry, can you give me 1 second?
sure,
I know my wife wants to watch this, and I'm afraid if I exit out of this
yeah. No
whatever I'm
worries.
in. Let me go give her your channel really quick.
Okay. Well, while he's doing that, I want to take the time and say thank you for those of you that are joining us today. Uh, like I said, that's Trent from Well-Don Tanks. For those of you that, in case that are new to Trent, uh, but I'd like to start off with Leo, 902 Aquatics. Thank you for being the very first one here today. Laurel, uh, she's one of my friends here in Yuma, another hobbyist that's here locally in town. And thank you for watching the live today. Audra, I understand. Work, I appreciate the fact that you just even watching this at all or listening. Sal, DJ Guppy Fish. We had a really pleasant conversation on our last stream, so thank you for being here today. Lando, glad to know that your homework's done, so you can hang out with us today. Um, let's see who else is in here. I thought I saw Mandy. Let's see. Oh, June, thank you very much. Only Oscars, thanks for being here. Daniel, gracias por estar aquí, Daniel. Ian, thanks for Ian. I the support that you provide not only to me but to the entire community is greatly appreciated. All those short reels that you do for promotional videos has really helped not just me but everybody that you've done one for. So thank you for what you're doing. Mandy, the Zen Ginger, thank you so much. Always, always a pleasure to have you monitor and moderate. So thank you for being here. Coral Works, how you doing, buddy? Let's see, Fish Fam Link, Linky, thanks for dropping in. Todd, TJ Autocross. Yep, having a great opportunity to have a little chat with Trent today. We're going to catch up a little bit. Nene Sarcoma, gracias por estar aquí, amigo. Let's see. All right, that's pretty much all the housekeeping for right now. So, did you get her set up?
I did. Yeah, she should be watching it right now. I think she's also kind of surprised that I really think you're the only person that's reached out to me in a while. So like, okay, let's drag you back out of this hiatus. Like, let's actually do something social media related with fish. So I think because we even today, like we were talking behind the scenes, I've been laying new flooring and stuff, and she's like, "We're not gonna make you late, are you?" Like, no, like I'm not canceling. There's no way. He reached out. He's a nice guy. We're doing this.
Oh, like I said, I understand. Look, I'm old enough now to understand that life happens, and family is important. And I've always said this. The minute this becomes an interference with my family life, I'm putting a pin on it, because there's nothing more important to me than my family. Fortunately, my wife and I now are empty nesters, and she goes to work, and usually half the times, and if you watch any of my streams, when I'm on live is usually because she's doing something else or she's at work. But that's why it also makes it hard for people to follow me, because I don't have a set schedule, because I set this around my schedule, I don't set my schedule around this.
Well, you've obviously seen my Instagram postings is very much the same right now. It's like the other night, I was hanging out in the garage, weekend off, working on a new stand for a new tank. Dogs out there, wife's out there, kids out there. I've country music going, and it was just, it's, oh shoot, like let's pull my phone out and do a quick recording. And then you see nothing for like 3 weeks from me, and then I come back like, oh, let's do a quick recording. It's like nothing for 3 weeks again. So I completely get you. You have to do it when you have time.
Yeah, the only constant presence that I do have, and that's because I agreed with a friend of mine to do a live stream every other Saturday on a different channel. It's called Fish Plants y Mas, and it's been really neat, because what we started out doing was we wanted to provide educational streams, and at first we were trying to figure it out, but it seems like lately we've really hit a stride, and we've been able to bring on some really interesting guests that are not necessarily YouTube famous, but within the hobby, they carry a lot of name recognition, because they've been doing this for years, and we've been very, very fortunate to get some of these people to come on. And we'll talk about, like, right now we started with doing native collecting, and we've been able to get several different hobbyists who just happen to also have a YouTube presence. But it's
say
just
hi, and then you gotta go back downstairs, okay? Come here.
Hello, young lady.
You say hi.
You're getting bigger.
How old are you now?
Were you like this much when you started coming on your dad's streams?
Yeah, like active in the streams. She's probably about 2, and she'd come in and say hi.
Yeah, she's about the age of my grandkids.
Okay, go down. Go. Do we take Ryder down?
Well, I'll tell you what. I am so pleased.
Okay, take him down.
To see that.
Oh, soft. Okay, go.
To see that you're doing well, man. You look good.
Thank you. I hope I look all right. I mean, I won't lie. I didn't shave, didn't do anything to get ready for the stream. I threw a shirt back on, I threw some water to the hair. Like, okay, We'll just kind of
Well,
make an attempt.
no. What I'm getting at is because I know, like towards the end, before you decided to take a break, you were looking a little stressed. I'm not gonna lie. And now this is kind of what I remember when I started following you. You got that ease about you that you had before.
It's nice to have again because when we Texas, was a whole whirlwind, and I see this, the Zen Ginger being like, I know him from way back in the day. Like, it's so interesting to look back. That I think I had a Facebook memory pop up the other day of 6 years ago is when I set up my first, large aquarium, a 75-gallon tank, and you're right. Like Texas was great. We hit that stress point, and then getting back here, trying to cram in as many tanks as I could into one room. It got hard, and so now it's been and kind of on the. I know when did I start taking breaks? Kind of as it started going downhill. I know I injured my hand in that time frame, and finally had a conversation with my wife and like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I have all these tanks shoved into a room, and it's not fun. Like, it's not fun to go in there. It's not fun to close the door on my kid. Like, it's one thing, occasionally to do it, but it was not fun of, holy crap, I just worked, a 12-hour shift. And I go, okay, I got to get home. I got to shower so I can presentable on camera. I got to kiss the kid, and then you got to go film. And then it's midnight, and then you still got to edit. I was like, this isn't fun anymore. And that's where I enjoy my, like, so people who've seen it on Instagram, I think you know about it. I'm doing a new tank. Like right now, I'm very much into saltwater, loving it. And I told my wife when we ordered the tank and when it arrived, kind of the first, and it was a little bumpy getting that tank here. That's another story. But I remember telling my wife, like, I so bad want to film and document this entire setup and make it I want to do YouTube again so bad right now. But it's like, the next statement was, but it has to be fun. And I do not want to take away from, okay, go to bed, don't say a word, keep the dog in the room. Like, I got to bring down 37 lights and 3 cameras. But like, no, if I'm going to do this, this is going to be, hey guys, like, this is me. This is me. This is my life. I have a kid. I have a dog. Like, this is what it is. I'm so tired of, my life does not allow me to do what I wanted to do in the very beginning of this. I finally just accepted that. I just accepted that I don't have the means, the time. Like, this is not my job anymore. This is just pure hobby. And accepting that, you're right. Like, I feel we've had some stressors, different things. I mean, life is stressful, let's be honest. But it's, I feel a lot less stressed. It's one thing of, not that everybody who knows me, but like my wife, the other day, she's like, you've thinned out in your face. Like, I've lost a few pounds. Like, I'm still a hefty guy, but I've lost a few pounds. I feel better. I'm sleeping better. We're trying to eat better, watch different intakes, but it's the fact that I'm sleeping better is very different from the Trent people knew 5 years ago, 4 years ago. That's a huge difference that has really changed in my life right now, is that I actually sleep at night.
Well, I'm glad you kind of touched on that that whole idea of sustainability, because I know people when they start creating the content, some people go, oh, okay, I love this. This is what I love doing. I want to make this a living. Well, here's the thing, though, that people don't stop and realize. And like you said, it's not cheap, especially in this hobby, because what I've seen from the bigger content creators, the ones that's exactly what they do for a living, and you hear them, and it's the same complaints, is that they're always constantly having to up, whatever it is that they did the last time, they got to go bigger and greater. That is not inexpensive to do. That takes a lot of money to be able to do that. Yes, you are getting some revenue, but then you constantly fall into that grind where you're trying to make it better and better and sustain and all of this, to the point where when you originally started doing this was because it was part of your hobby and you wanted
Hmm.
to have that communication. It's no longer that. It's a job, and anybody that's doing a job doesn't really enjoy doing that. So yeah, I can relate to what you're saying. I think that is great that you mentioned that, because a lot of people that are starting to get into this and starting to create content, they really have to think about it if this is really what they want, because it's not an easy road, and very few actually make it all the way through to make this a sustainable living off of creating content.
No, my wife has definitely helped me realize that. I fell into that cycle of I have to change this to make this, fun, like interesting to people. But whereas the reef tank I've been playing with, I've shared it on, Instagram a few times. I love it. I've had more fun, enjoyment where we're sitting on the couch watching a show, watching a movie, and I look over and I tap my wife. I'm like, hey, look at that. The thing's doing a thing. And she's like, I don't, yeah, it looks great. Like, thanks. Like, I'm gonna eat my popcorn right now and keep watching the movie. I'm like, no, like that thing's doing a thing. And I lost that magic for so long of that thing's doing a thing. And it's fun to have that again. So that's why I'm so excited for the new tank we're doing is instead of doing, two tanks, we're doing one still nano-ish reef tank, but it's nice. We ordered in a very, specific tank. We wanted it to be part of the furniture, the home, the decor, make a nice stand for it. The goal of this was to be when if you're not even a fish person, you look at it and you go, "Oh, look, he has a Nemo." Cool. And where I look at it, I'm like that is nice. And it's fun too. Where my wife even looks at it and she's like, "Yeah, I enjoy it. Like I enjoy looking at that." And it's what's so different versus, "Hey, babe, your air pump's making a noise again. Like, can you fix that?" Where now it's okay. Like, I mean, she was laughing at me when I opened up the boxes and stuff and how excited I was to look at this and look at this. Yeah, it's a light. No, it's not any light. It's this light. So I lost that for so long.
How do you keep yourself in check now? That especially because I know that the urges or that desire sometimes that to okay, I just want an extra one, and and then just another small one over here. Uh, how are you going to manage that to keep it where it's still a hobby and it doesn't get out of control?
Yeah, so my wife is pregnant. We're expecting
Oh,
our second one, and
congratulations!
thank you. We're expecting the second one in December, and that's kind of when I started having a reality check. Was when we started trying that process. We unfortunately, the time to where now, okay, now we're having a child. Like we need that second bed, the third bedroom in our house. Like we need that bedroom for this kid. Different things. That's when the realization started setting. Is like, okay, like, I have to get this room cleared out. Now it came down to where I keep myself in check is if I mix up a bucket of salt water to do a water change, and I'm guilty of it right now. It's been sitting in the bathroom mixing for 2 days, and I still haven't taken the time to do a water change. There's no way I'm going to be able to keep up with 3 or 4 tanks scattered around the house. Like there's no way. And that's also why I no longer have a puffer fish. Like I no longer have any of that. I donated that my last puffer to a very trusted local fish store on the basis of it sat up in the room. I didn't do anything with it, and I would just occasionally feed. And that's when I also had the realization of it's fun to set up multiple tanks, but until I have time that I don't feel guilty about going to do that, there's no way. You know, Last night we let my kids stay up till 10:30, but we've been busy doing flooring the last 2 days, so she hasn't gotten much of my attention. So we sat up on my bed and we played Luigi's Mansion on our Nintendo Switch. Like that's what she wanted to do before bedtime. I was happy to give that time to her, or it's no, I can't give you 20 minutes of my time because I have to go do a water change on the fifth tank that I have tucked behind the toilet in the bathroom or something like that. So that was what really put myself in check. Was for the first part of my daughter's life, the career I was in, I feel like I missed so much of her time growing up because I was in a career, all my time was going there. I'd come home and I would bury myself in really an unhealthy relationship with fish and social media to try and bury the PTSD, bury the stress, the emotions I was having that I could not communicate properly. And now that we've transitioned into a healthy lifestyle, that's what I remind myself of is it worth it to bury myself in tanks again? Or is it worth it to share this hobby with my kid? Like we're actually changing out her guppy tank to a new anemone tank with a clownfish, very small, very simple. But you should have seen how excited she got today when the last parts came in the mail. She doesn't know what she's looking at a pump. She doesn't know she's looking at sand. All that she knows is dad just told her the parts for your tank are here. And that moment was like, okay, this is what I missed for so long. But then that's what really keeps me in check right now. It's a very long-winded answer to your question, but it's that enjoyment with her. I don't want to do a third tank or a fourth tank, but I won't lie. If we get the chance to move, I would kill to set up another small fish room. I would kill for that. It's so fun. But at the same time, I really enjoy. Oh yeah, I did a water change on the tank today. Cool. I still have time to hang out with the family. Like there is no other tank I have to go do.
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of those things where I know, in my personal, it's just it allows you having more than one tank. For me, because I know I always like tinkering with stuff. It gives me that opportunity so that I have multiple areas that I can do that with. But uh, truth be told, I don't think I could get any more. If I really want to be responsible in what I'm doing, there's no way I could have more tanks because then you start becoming neglectful and you don't start paying attention and it becomes tedious and again it starts going away from a hobby into a job and I don't want a job. I already have a
Yeah,
career. I
right.
don't need a I don't need another one.
So, and I know I shared a picture, my tank on Instagram the other day of, it's covered in algae right now. I've been busy. I haven't had time to stop and play with it. It's healthy. Like I'll argue with anybody of the fish are great, the corals are great. This doesn't look good, but it's fine. That's all. I can bring that back in balance in a couple days, a little bit of time. But I just, but that not having that stress anymore of like, oh my god, the tank is covered in algae, and I got to film a video tonight. Like, okay, I got to spend 2 hours making the tank look pristine to film a video. Where right now it's like, you know what? No, I'm gonna share a picture of this on Instagram of this is what my life is right now. Hey, I moved the tank 30 feet to make room for flooring. Guess what? It's covered in algae, and I don't care. And that enjoyment was just fun to have in that moment.
Well, it's like everything else. It's the reality that we live in. I mean, if you don't have, I I'll be hard pressed. Well, you know what? It's not necessarily true because if you only have one tank and you can dedicate all your tank to that, of course it's going to be immaculate. But you know, sometimes those what we consider imperfections are not necessarily imperfections. It's just a well cycled and balanced tank.
Mm-hmm.
And in any environment like that, you're going to have all those organisms that makes it complete. So it's just natural. You really want a natural tank? That's what a natural tank is going to look like. So I see that are you no longer keeping any freshwater tanks?
So currently, the only freshwater tank in
Is
the
your
house
daughter's?
is my daughter's guppy tank, which I told her if we're switching it, we're not keeping this, and that's the whole premise of she she has to help me take care of it. So she's very good at remembering to feed the fish, and when we do a water change on it, she's very good at remembering, Dad, we have to add the the stuff that makes the water safe. Dad, we have to, only add this much water. And so that was my whole reasoning with her, is that me and my wife are also trying to teach her some level of responsibility, but at the same time, like, these are pets. So let's not, I'm guilty of it. I've hoarded fish before. So we want to teach her the balance of it. If we're switching the guppies out for this, you still have to take care of it. Yes, I'll do the major maintenance on it, but it's so yeah. So she for a moment was like, well, can't we keep the other tank? Like, nope, that was the deal. So we won't. I will not have a freshwater tank. Probably in the next couple weeks, there will not be a freshwater tank in my possession.
Well, guppies can go full salt, right?
I know mollies can. I've actually never. I thought about trying to actually acclimate the guppies to a full saltwater system. Just I think it'd be fun for her tank. It's again of like, if that experiment goes wrong, I don't know how to explain that to my kid.
Yeah. No, as far as I know, like I know they can go full salt. Mollies too, and I think that's pretty much it. But um, yeah, no. But well, and I think that's what's nice about this hobby is now you went from having all these aquariums, doing the breeding that you were doing, but it was basically your hobby. So now what I see is that this is becoming an experience that you're sharing with your daughter, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, anytime to spend time with our kids is a plus. So hopefully, she continues to stay in it, and maybe down the road, you guys can do some stuff together.
Maybe. I mean, I always tell her too that it's she still has to enjoy it. Like, that's my biggest thing is if she ever came to me and said, "Dad, I'm done with this," yeah, like I'm never gonna pressure her into anything she wants to do. And maybe it's a fun fad. I don't know. I hope one day that I mean, I would die if one day she came to me. She's like, "Dad, can we change the tank? But I want to set it up." Like, absolutely. Like, what do you want? Credit cards open? Where are we going? What do you want? I know my wife would be like, "Hang on, hold up. Like, let's talk about this." But I'd be all for it. It's too much fun right now. Of like, we let her pick out to try and get the process moving faster. We let her pick out live rock at a very trusted local fish store, and I didn't realize how difficult it would to be to a 5-year-old to pick out 3 pieces of small live rock when there's this one's purple, this one's green, this one has this color, and I'm over there like, just damn rock, like, we gotta go. But she's, "Dad, this one's purple." And it is those moments of like, I had to slow down and just remember, this is her tank. This is her showing interest in my hobby, and I should not rush. I mean, yes, the ground, and me and my wife finally stepped in, like, okay, you get a purple one, you get a green one, and you get a regular one. Let's go. But that moment of, I didn't realize that picking live rock would be hard.
Well, and that I think that's what's kind of the important thing is that she gets to feel that it's her her decisions,
I really want her to have
her
that.
involvement. So that's pretty neat. So I know that you're doing the stuff on Instagram. Are you pretty much going to stick to that platform because it allows you to do unedited stuff pretty quick? Or
I've done, what have I done? One true quote unquote edited video. I think I did a video of maintenance on my reef tank, doing a water change kind of thing. It was fun. It was fun to pull the tripod out, hook the phone up to it, do a vertical shot, kind of bring it all together. But I really do enjoy, the nights I get to have kind of by myself in the garage, or family's hanging around with me. I enjoy that it's so fast of, take a quick photo, put it on Instagram. Take a quick video, put it on Instagram. That want is still very much in me. Of like, when I clean that room out, and we talked of, I packed up all my streaming gear. So I've moved my computer to where I'm at now, and you'll have the chat pulled up so I can see it. But I don't have the lights and the camera and the microphone set up anymore. And I kind of had a moment when I took all that down of like, this is kind of end of an era, and it's a little sad. Like I really enjoyed having this. I kind of had to process it for a moment of, and even my wife encouraged me. She's like, you don't have to give it up. Like, oh, I don't think we're giving it up. It's just I know somebody commented or way up earlier in the chat, and it's they keep checking my channel to make sure I don't miss a new video. Like that is something I'll never get used to when somebody out there in the internet world has taken time to check to see if I've done something so they can get enjoyment out of it. And it's even to yourself, like, yeah, I've been watching you since this day. It's like, why? Like, it's so weird to me that people across all these years have found enjoyment out of what I do. But I can be the same. It's when I have met people, the one Aquashella we were able to attend, and you see someone, you're like, holy crap, like, I've watched you forever. And it's like, okay, just reverse that, and people, so it's cool. So I I would like to do some YouTube videos. I really would like to create that content again. But it's gonna be. I'm trying so hard not to fall back in the groove of lighting has to be perfect. Camera has to be perfect. Like I was guilty of it. I messaged you of like, hey man, sorry, it's gonna be my phone, AirPods, my
Yeah.
lighting's gonna suck. And I stopped. Is like, Trent, you're doing it again. Just go on the stream, have a good time. People don't care. They're here to enjoy the conversation. I'm here to enjoy the conversation. So I guess if I do make YouTube videos, it's probably going to be very different than what I've done in the past. I don't know. I just want to enjoy it again.
Yeah, it's it's an easy trap to fall in and trying to play with all these gadgets and trying to do all this stuff. But again, it goes to what I keep saying. It just all of a sudden something that is very enjoyable in a hobby and that you enjoy doing, you look forward to. When it becomes too tedious, you just kind of dread it and you just don't want to do it anymore. So I think the thing is for me, the one thing that I've really enjoyed about all of this is one, it allows me to connect with people that I've been seeing in the chats, and we exchange communications and comments back and forth. But doing it this way, it allows me to take it a step further because more than likely, almost 90% of the people that I've kind of made acquaintances with on this platform, I'll probably never really get an opportunity to meet them face to face. So this grants me that opportunity to have that communication and have it go more than just a chat, conversation. It's actually being physically to be able to see the person, and the closest thing that's going to be to face-to-face interaction, especially nowadays. So that's why I like it. It allows me to connect, and what I've always told people too is one of the things that I enjoy truly about these platforms is it allows me to connect with a lot of people that otherwise I would have never crossed paths with, because we just live in very different areas, and we happen to be in a very niche kind of hobby. It's not like I don't know about you, but in my circle of friends, I'm the only one that keeps fish. So when it comes to trying to have a conversation about certain breeding behaviors of a fish that I have, I'm not going to tell them over a beer, dude. Hey, my electric blue car were mating the other day. They're going to be like, "What the hell is that?"
You get an interesting look when you bring it up that way.
So allowing you to have a community that you can share those experiences with is what I really have enjoyed about all of this. And that's the only reason why I continue to do this, because it's that way to have those connections for more than just a chat. So that's why I've really enjoyed it. I don't, and I've always been very clear to myself. This is not something that I want to have it become a living for me, because
Right.
I've been very blessed with having a great family. I have a great job. I don't need this. this I can literally turn it off today, walk away from it, and I'll still be perfectly happy. This is all this does is allow me to be a bigger nerd with more people. That's it. And that's what I enjoy about it. And you know, people that I've made acquaintances with. As a matter of fact, I've made some very good friendships out of this, and Aquafunk is one of them. As a matter of fact, I've always said he has been my mentor through this whole process because he's the one that reached out and said, "Dude, you need to do a video. You need to post this. You need to do this. You need to do that. And if you have any questions, hit me up. I'll help you out." And it's his fault why I'm doing this. So if anybody hates the fact that I am live on YouTube, it's all Funk's fault. But no,
Yeah,
it is that opportunity.
Remember Blake Adams? He's in my dudes. He's been in my chats all the time. We have been out to Colorado to go. When we moved to Texas, we got to meet him for a brief period of time. His family moved to Colorado. We ended up moving back to Utah. We took a weekend trip out to Colorado. Like we talk. That friendship started over him chatting in my video, like being in a live stream. Like it's amazing where like I will now argue with people of, and I'm weird. I love video games. I don't play as much as I used to, but like I love when you see these stories of people like 10 friends never met in life. One of them passed away and they all went to the funeral and now they're all meeting in person and you know their wives, girlfriends, families, whoever, and now stepping back like, okay, like they're actually really you get to create and generate in this hobby because it's yeah, you know you meet somebody the first time and you got to go through the list of awkward 20 questions. What do you like to do? What's your favorite food? What's your hobby? You know, and what are the top 3 answers you typically get? Well, I go hunting, I go fishing. If you live in Utah, I go skiing. Maybe if you live in California, I like to go to the beach. And then out of left field, here we come and go, yeah, I keep aquariums. And you people pause are like, what? Fish tanks? I put fish in a glass box and I stared at them all day. Oh yeah, I had a fish tank when I was like 10. Like no, man, like fish tanks. You know, then you show a picture of your fish room, your tank, and it's what? You know, my favorite always is I would show people a picture of like, you know, the Mabu puffer I had for a while. Like, oh yeah, I had one of those. No, you didn't. Like, I no, promise you didn't. Yeah, I had that exact fish. Yep. Okay, man. Like, cool. So it's fun when you get to finally meet somebody and you talk about you know, I see all the tanks behind you, and you could start rambling off of every single one of those, and I'd be over here just enthralled. I'm like, yep, I love it. Yep, that's amazing. And most people don't have a place to go like that. Most people, that's what I really miss about. I think the consistency I had on live streams and posts. That's why I was really excited to come on the stream with you tonight. Is I miss having that. I miss when probably you and Aquafunk. I guarantee you, a couple times a week, once a month, it's how's the family? How is this? What's happening with this? You share ups and downs, and it's just we've created a community that we all like to be in. Now you're gonna get people that I mean, I think today, you know, Aquarium Co-op, I'm still super fan, whatever you want to call it. They put out a filler video. The first 10 comments were every single person complaining about the video. Oh, this sucks. Oh, it's a voiceover. Oh, you're just reusing this. And I stopped for a second. I was like, holy crap, people. Like, one, it's free. Two, you chose to click on that and we're complaining about it. Like, I know we don't all agree with everybody's opinions, but something we can all agree on is we all like fish. Like we all like fish. And from that point, we can start moving out into different circles of religion, politics, likes, dislikes, but we all come back to the center of we're all here because we want to talk fish. Yes, we have different personal conversations. You saw my daughter come on the stream. My wife's pregnant, laying floors, talk about my past career, but it's still a. I think that's why I was so excited when you messaged me like, "You want to come on a live stream?" Like, you know what? Yeah, I actually really do. I really do want to have this interaction and connection again. And I missed this. I'm very grateful for you having me out here again.
Well, I was excited the fact that you said yes. I mean, I know, and it's been interesting because I know I used to watch your stuff all the time, and when you took that hiatus, and then you popped up on Instagram, well, I started following you there, and sending that message has been a message that's been ongoing for about 2 or 3 months, where I was thinking about doing it and just kind of like out of the blues. But I said the guy doesn't know me from anything. He's who's this weirdo sending me a DM asking me how I'm doing, and so when you finally popped up again, I said, you know what? If I'm ever gonna take that opportunity, I think this is the time to do it. So that's why I reached out that way. But I was curious. I was always, genuinely curious, hoping that you were doing well. I figured, bad news always travels real quick, so no news was probably good news, and
Yeah.
figured that you were just busy with family, and but when I started seeing all these little teasers of what you were working on, I'm going, all right, he's getting back into it again. He hasn't truly lost the passion for the hobby. So you
No.
know, so that was kind of neat. And then it was just kind of like a stab in the dark and said, hey, here goes nothing. What's the worst thing that Trent can say is like, nah, not right now. And when actually I was more prepared to get a response like, you know what, maybe somewhere down the road, but when you said hell yeah, I was like, what? And it wasn't even. I was thinking it's going to be a couple of days before I hear back, but it was kind of like I had just hit send, and within a few minutes, I was like, "Are you sitting? Are you serious?" He's telling me that it wouldn't take too much to entice him. Well, I said, "Okay, well, let's do it."
It's exactly what it was. I mean, I think well, people that know me, like you're gonna catch me on 1 or 2 days. You're gonna catch me on a day where I am gonna see a DM and be like, oh yeah, I'll get back to that. And also it's like 3 weeks later, I pop up in the middle and I'm like, I never messaged that person back. Damn it. Like, let me take care. I'm so sorry. I mean, I've seen you like I've seen you like my stuff. I've seen you like my posts. I knew the name. I knew I lurk. So this is one thing I really took a very hard approach at when I was very active on YouTube and different things was I took a weird stance of I love collaborations, but I wanted to do them on my terms. And I didn't this is gonna sound terrible. I never wanted to seem like I was reaching farther above than my grasp kind of a thing. Like I never wanted to be desperate or different things. I wanted to be respectful and I just enjoyed doing my own thing. So I lurk. I have watched a lot of your content. You probably will never see me comment much. I give a thumbs up here and there. I watch, I lurk, I kind of keep tabs on people out there. I check Instagram pages and different things. And so when your DM came through, and I apologize if I just offended anybody who has DM'd me or wants to DM me. Now you feel like I'm just a complete ass and I'm not going to respond back or anything. But when I got Jorge's DM in, it was a moment of like, I know who this is. I've seen this name around enough, and it helped that you caught me. I was in a really good mood. I was working on a stand. I was chatting with my wife, and there was a bit of excitement like that. There was excitement of like, okay, like somebody cares enough to just throw it out there. Because I'm the same way. What's the worst they're gonna say? No,
Yeah,
but that's such a hard irrational fear to get over. And that's why I say I won't lie. I got nervous. I started getting everything set up, and my Tourette started going haywire. And I was like, "Holy crap! I'm nervous!" Like just have a good time, but I am Zen Ginger. I'm sorry. I have to say this. So yes, my wife's gonna correct me on time. I'm gonna say she's almost 7 months pregnant. And I refused to let her carry boxes, but I will not lie, she probably laid half the flooring. My wife is very handy and did a I'm very like I told my daughter the other day, I was like, hey, make sure mom doesn't work so hard. My daughter took that so literal. It was hilarious to watch. But nope, Jordan has been she's actually down painting trim right now. So even at 7 months pregnant, she still outworks me day in, day out. Like people would probably lose their mind that when I was building my stand, my wife had the circular saw and was making cuts for me because she could cut a straighter line than I could on plywood.
Yeah, I remember you posting about that. I thought that was kind of cool. And a matter of fact, didn't she start her own little like home improvement YouTube channel for a while?
Yeah, for a little while she did. Yeah, she even. I think she realized too, like, because I know she did an awesome video where she laid some backsplash in one of our houses, and afterwards, she came to me. She's like, "It takes 3 times longer." I'm like, oh yeah.
Mhm.
Any project you do, as soon as you turn on the camera, it is immediately 3 times longer. Um, she enjoyed it. I really think she enjoyed being able to share her idea, her passion. Then it just kind of tapered off into she just enjoys doing it. Like I mean, our floors look great, our trim looks fantastic, and she's down there working away, and it's fun to see. Like even I mean, I could spin you around and show you. There's little things all around her house that she's figured out how to do it. Figured out to put this trim up, make this room look better, and so I mean, I would love. Well, I say I would love for her to, pursue that again, but I think she also has just I enjoy doing these little projects on my own time, and I don't have to share them with anybody. So but she started something for a little while.
Yeah. But going back to when I know when you were doing your fish breeding, what are some of the takeaways that you have from that you could probably share with somebody that might be in that phase of trying to put together a fish room, trying to breed for profit? What were some of the biggest things that you walked away with that you could say, you know what, if I do this again, these were the pitfalls?
The well, uh, the biggest pitfall I had, and I guess there's some harsh reality of Texas was a big one. So when I was in Harriman, connected with the fish store that shall not be named for stupid legal reasons or whatever else out of all that crap. Um, that was a moment of like, okay, like I have a chance to do this. Went down to Texas, and I was actually just talking about this with Jordan the other day. There was a fish store not 5 minutes from our house. It was called Cinco Ranch Aquariums. If you don't follow them on Instagram, follow them on Instagram. I do know they can be persuaded to ship. They're great people. I love them still. They're fantastic people. Talked with them. That was a moment too of like I have a connection. Like I've established a connection. I brought them fish at one point of like, here's a free trial, here's this. But the first pitfall was just thinking, like just I'm gonna walk into any fish store, drop a bag of fish on the counter, and I'm gonna walk away with cash in hand. Like it was a really quick realization of that's not going to happen. Um, my mind was blown that around the Houston area, just how many fish stores there actually were, and all of them were doing business. Like there, we went into some where you could tell, like this isn't our style. There's some dead fish. It smells bad. Like this isn't our place, but they're still doing a lot of business. There's one down there, 360 Aquatics.
Yep.
it was like owner. I don't know if people have met him, not kind of standoffish. That's fine now, but looking back, I completely understand why. I tried to sell him fish. Like I tried to break into that market of, and essentially his response was, "I already have 30 breeders I buy from. Why you?" And I realized like, holy crap, like this is a job interview that I was not ready for. Like I was not ready, and the next pitfall is I people do like owners, store owners do not want to buy small fish from you. They want those fish showing color because now if you bring them fish that aren't showing color, they're not going to sell them. So they just paid you for fish that they're not going to sell. They don't want to grow them out. And most hobbyists, their fish rooms are not set up to grow out all the fish they're breeding. So that was my next pitfall was I took on, how many, give me a rough estimate of how many tanks are behind you right now.
Behind me?
Yeah. Give me a rough estimate.
Oh, 23.
Let's say you have 20 tanks in your fish room. And my first mindset was awesome. I can keep 20 different species of fish and I'm going to breed 20 species of fish. And you're like, wait a second. This fish and this fish don't like each other. Okay, like let's break it down to 10 species of fish. I'm going to breed 10 species of fish. It's like, but do you have 10 other tanks to take them from egg to sellable silver dollar size angelfish? Like Dean's fish room still blows my mind, but that was my pitfall was I took on so many fish instead of being like, you know what, we're going to focus on rainbow shiners. Like I miss my rainbow shiners from Texas. Those things were so bright. Plecos, and we'll say angelfish because I know I can sell a crap load of angelfish down here. 3 species. Nope, I had rams, pistos, angelfish, plecos, this, that. So that's you have to if you're truly gonna breed for profit. In my opinion, it's you set up a fish room and you pick 2 species. Like pick 2 fish, make money off those fish, and then decide what you're gonna do next. And then honestly, the final pitfall for me was this is an investment fish. If I buy these really expensive plecos right now, oof, these are gonna make me a lot of money. And I purchased the honeycomb pleco. I don't remember the L number. It's the Wobbin Musters. That's what the real name goes by. I know, it seems like Dean always gets his hands on these crazy things. Heard about him, saw him, hooked up with a breeder, importer, something in Texas, picked up a group of Wobbin Musters, and they were, an inch to an inch and a half long, but they were my investment fish. And at the time, I was not thinking about the fact that like I have to keep these things for a year, 2 years before they're really sexually mature and I'm really cranking fry out. Okay, great. Now 2 years, let's say a year. Am I really going to dedicate a 40-gallon breeder for 1 year to just raising my investment fish to hopefully breed, to hopefully get those eggs? Now I have to take another 6 months to raise them to sellable size. So that was, if I ever, you know, get into that again, I'm not buying the investment fish. It is going to be start small, start simple. When you make profit, then you take that profit and you invest it in. You now invest it into. I have adult fish that I can get to breed shortly. And I know that's controversial because a lot of high end breeders will tell you buy juveniles, raise the juveniles out, but people don't go into it with the mindset of that one tank is now dedicated to those juveniles for X amount of time, period.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why if I ever do a fish room again, I won't breed for profit. I will breed for enjoyment. I will find fish that I enjoy. You walk out and it's holy crap, my blue acaras have eggs? That's so cool. Okay. I know I have a place that I can pass these off of, but it's the enjoyment of watching them breed, getting successful fry, raising the fry, and not the stress of crap. I just lost 100 fry. That's $3 a fish. I just lost $300. Like, oh, it's no more. I do not want to do that again. I just want my plecos have eggs. Awesome. Hey, fish store, I have a bunch of free plecos. Do you want them? Or it's, hey, fish store, here's a bunch of plecos. Thank you for my one small jar of food. That's all I want. Thanks. No, no more will I breed for profit anymore. I would only breed for enjoyment at this point.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I've always said. My best scenario would be if I can get stuff to breed on a regular basis, and I have stuff. I'd be happy with, you know what? I'll trade you all these fish for the next set of fish that I want to try to breed at. And if I can get that going, I would be happy because then I'm not spending money on buying new fish, and I'm trying something different every time. So, but where I'm at, I'm either a 3 hour drive east to try to get to Phoenix, or a 3 hour drive west to go to San Diego, and then that's where you have all the local fish stores. Here, all I have is a PetSmart, so they're not going to get anything from me.
Nope.
But yeah, it's just I've always, as time passes, I start realizing that the best thing you can do if you're really trying to breed for profit is find one species, breed it well, develop the colors on that, become specialized in that breed, and it'll be a lot easier for you to move those fish. Whereas if you're trying to do a gazillion different species, because these are more profitable if you get them to grow out and stuff like that. But like you said, people don't realize how long it takes for some of these species. That's why they're worth that money that they're worth. And because it's that time investment. It's not, they might be easy to breed, but for people to be able to buy them, it takes you money to get them to that
Yeah.
size. So
Money, which you don't account for. You don't stop and think about that of Texas was so much fun, but at the same time looking back on it, and it's like, holy crap, like this, the amount of money that my wife let me dump into that hobby. Even now, like doing a reef tank and all this, there's arguments of it. It's expensive, and yes, and all these different things, but even trying to make it a simple basis of there's enjoyment of it. But yeah, dumping in, I think one of the worst things I did was I think I spent like $400 on wild caught discus, or a wild type discus from 360 Aquatic down there. Beautiful fish. I 100% jumped the gun of, oh yeah, I have a tank ready. Tank was not ready to handle that, and I crashed it, lost all the discus. But in my head, it was, oh, that's $400. I'll make back so fast once I breed these guys. Like, we're gonna breed them. We're gonna get eggs. We're gonna flip them right back to 360. We're gonna make money off of this. Where now, if I ever touch discus again, it's I just want them. I just want them because they're pretty. I no longer want that, $400 on, oof, like we're gonna make money from this, and looking back, like no, and then shortly after that's when I bought the big flower horn, and the day that flower horn passed, crushed me. That was such a beautiful fish to just have in my office, to see all the time. That was such a pretty fish to have. So yeah, I'm definitely more inclined now to, if I set up another fish room, I think I want like 10 tanks, and I want rice fish. That's what I'd go back to. I just go back to rice fish, enjoy them, because I know that those are, I could easily take them to the club here in my local area, drop a bag off, and they'd be gone the same day. And then just repeat that cycle of, I enjoy them, bring a bag in, somebody else gets to enjoy them. But no more. It's counting. Like, I remember counting eggs of, ooh, okay, we have, 75 pleco eggs. Like, okay, I can sell them for this, like mark it down. Like, no, I miss the, look at this mop full of rice fish eggs. This is so cool. And that's where I like right now. I look over at my reef tank, and it's the thing's doing a thing. That is what I want to keep on with. Is the thing is doing a thing.
Well, and then the other cost that I hardly ever hear people talk about when they have a fish room is your utilities. And nobody seems to account for the increase in your utilities when you have this many aquariums, because now you're talking all that light you need to be able to light the aquariums, to run heaters, to be able to do water changes and all that stuff. And that's an expense that I when I hear people talking about breeding for profit, that they don't account for. And it's kind of like, oh, you really need to look at what your cost is, depending on where you live too. Like for me, the biggest cost for me is in the summer trying to keep this place cool, because I live in the desert.
Oh yeah,
And my fish room in here, and I've even done lives. It's over 90 degrees in here. Water temperatures are in the high 80s. So if I don't do something to try to bring those temperatures down, I'm going to cook all my fish. And so it's that expense that, or versus where it's cold. Now you got to worry about keeping the temperatures high so that they don't freeze over. So those are the things that some people don't account for. And you don't, when you start looking at it, you go, oh, this is a lot more money than I was expecting it for it to be. It's all of a sudden you're looking at $200 or $300 extra that you weren't contemplating on spending, because all you were worried about was the food and the fish and all of that. So on top of all of that, you have all these utilities that you gotta be responsible for.
we can argue of, well, there's ways to make it more efficient. Sure,
Yeah.
One linear air piston pump is different than 30 separate air pumps, but you're absolutely right though. Of you don't like, even if you went is I think Corey's fish room is a great example of how efficient he's attempted to make that. I mean, yes, it's on a massive scale, much bigger than I'll ever have. But Harriman, when I lived in Harriman, Utah, before we went to Texas, smallest fish room I've ever had. It was awesome. I loved that thing. I bet, and I have to confront my wife on this, we probably were between 60 to $100 extra just in electricity every month. I did not even think about that until we really sat down and crunched those numbers. Texas, I kind of expected it, uh, but again, transferring from here to Texas and the how the electric is. When we called to set up our utilities on the house, we were shocked that we had 10 different electrical companies that we could pick from, bid against. Utah, you have Rocky Mountain Power, that's it. It was so different to see that. And we tried to take that into account of, okay, this is going to draw this much wattage and this much power. And that was different, where it's instead of I'm going to light one individual tank, I'm going to use one light to light two tanks. And I went away from, we have to keep high end plants and this, so it is a cost that people don't think about. And you're right, I never talked about it. I know I never gave a breakdown of how much electricity I think I was spending on the time. The other honest one that I really got sucked into was fish food. Extreme food, prime example. Awesome food. I love it. My fish always ate it. If I were to breed again, I would not purchase extreme food to use for breeding fish. I would go find the cheapest tetracolor flakes and use that in my breeding tanks. The extreme food would be my display tank, my fish that I want that happening to. And to this day, I still have the opinion of, if you put two fish in front of me, let's say two angelfish, something. One was fed extreme curl flake its entire life. One was fed tetracolor flakes its entire life. I couldn't tell the difference which one was which. Yes, I do agree. It can help with coloration, help with all these different things. But man, I spent so much money on extreme food trying to feed a fish room versus buying a bucket of tetracolor flakes for $10 and feed my fish room for 3 months. Like I've definitely learned how to manage that fish food basis now, instead of Like I'm sure there's so many people in the chat that are just as guilty as I am. You have your fish food rack, and there's 30 different bottles of fish food on that thing. Instead of, yeah, Petco has this, and guess what? The fish ate it.
Yeah. Or that's what the realization I've come with this many fish. And I had this conversation with even with Aquafun because he's actually done a breakdown of looking at the ingredients, and you look at the back of these things, and how much different one brand from another. The biggest difference is going to be your ash that you find in the food. That's what really what's going to determine the quality of it, how much ash is left. And but you start comparing the extreme brand foods with what's a cheap, I guess a Tetra or whatever, and you start going line by line. The differences are not that huge. I mean, you're still going to get the outcome you're looking for, but without breaking the bank. And as long as your fish will eat it and it's not making them sick, you know, then feed what works. I know I was very fortunate to find a company that is, for a half-pound bag of food, flake food, I'm only paying $7, $8.
It's not bad at all.
For half a pound, you don't realize how much, especially when you talk about flake food, how much half a pound really is. I mean, it's a lot of food, and it's just inexpensive, and it's good quality food. The fish will eat it. You look at the protein content, you look at all that stuff. It's no different than some of your other high-end foods. Now, granted, if you only have one fish tank and you want to spoil your fish, have at it. But if you're really looking at trying to feed an entire fish room, as much as you like to do that, it's going to get to a point where it's just not feasible. I mean,
No,
it's just going to be way, way, way too expensive.
the only one I still think is feasible is baby brine shrimp. Like, yes, there's cost associated with different things you can break down of if you feed it, yes, it's an associated cost. But nutritional quality to how far you can stretch a tablespoon of baby brine shrimp is by far the simplest aspect of this, and it's I think when I was actively hatching baby brine shrimp every day, I think I could still make a can of aquarium co-op eggs last a month or so. Like it still lasted me a significant amount of time where it was, okay, yeah, $20 for a can of food. Like I can make this last. Like this fits into my regiment versus what is it, $13 for a case of extreme food where I burned through that in 2 weeks. That got hard to keep ordering, keep justifying of, oh, best food on the market, best food on the market. Like let's do this. Now, my reef tank downstairs, I have 3 packages of frozen food that I rotate through, and I'm about to finish one of the packages here, but I haven't bought new food for that tank in probably 2 months. That's helped me keep that cost down of that maintenance, and that's where I've made some smart trades of skill trade with my local fish store. I'm a plumber. I did some plumbing work for him, and my charge was I want a box of salt. My time, 30 minutes to do the work, box. And we talked of what is a fair trade to you. You as business owner, what's something you can write off your books that's a fair trade. And I told him, like, I'm not looking for fish. I do not want fish or coral. Period. I do not feel like that's a fair trade on either party. I want something that is a tangible. Here's your food. Here's this, and we agreed on a box of salt. That box of salt, I still am using. I haven't run out of that box of salt yet. That was a fair trade, in my opinion, for my time for something that's helped keep the cost of my reef tank down. I've actually not purchased a box of salt for that reef tank yet. Period. So I think that's something people need to look at too is, do you have something that you can trade with a store on here's sweet. This jar of fish food that's your cheapest fish food in here, this half pound of flake food, feed your fisherman for the next however long. And I'd say I'm probably the worst person to ask about fish food and what's right and wrong. I don't know. My mindset has changed so much over the last year of my hobby. Is I just I no longer want to. It's so hard not to spend money on the latest and greatest, but I still I have to catch myself of I don't need that new thing. Like I don't know if you've seen Corey's new sponge filter attachment he's made and different things. I'm so excited for him. Like my head was like, oh, I want to make a fish room so bad now. Those are so rad. But like, nope, I don't need them. Like I've held on to my linear air piston pump. I still have it. I purposely have kept it. I made that mistake once. If I sold off the one I had, and I didn't want to get a new one again. So but I did a big. I remember when we moved from Texas, and even here, I did a big purge session where I went out to all the totes in the garage and finally just threw away everything. There were certain things where I gave to friends that were still in tanks. Justin, I still see him occasionally. Gave him some lights, gave him some things back, but I threw away all these little things of food packages, polyfill, these different things of I was hoarding of, oh yeah, one day I'm gonna use it. So I finally looked at myself as like, okay, today's the one day. Like we're past. It's been 6 months. You're not gonna use that. Get rid of it. Like you're not gonna use. I sold off. There's a gentleman down here who wanted to start a new store. I sold him a tank. He came to pick up the tank, and he asked me. He's like, "Do you have anything else you're getting rid of? I'm trying to start a store." I pulled down 2 totes full of sponge filters. I said, "Buck a piece." Buck a piece. No, like that's not what I paid for them. No, that does not recuperate the money. But you know what it does? It gives me a little bit of adult beverage money, and it gets them out of my garage. And I still can't believe. I still remember the look on his face. He's like, "Are you sure? A buck a piece? Take them. Like, you see that tank over the corner? You have use for that? Sweet, $20. Get it out of it." He finally was like, "Can I come back tomorrow with a bigger car?" Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's just you never know. I know a large portion of my fish room has been tanks that I just been given. I've been reached out to, and they realize my little small presence that I do have on Facebook platforms out here. People know that I have an area where I keep it. On a regular basis, I get messages. Hey, would you be interested in this? And I'll ask them, how much are you asking them? No. I need it out today. I just need you to come and get it. So now my floor is starting to get pretty full again of aquariums that I haven't set up because people are just looking to give them away, and that impulsive side of me that says yeah I'll get it, and but I know I can't set it up. So I'll wait. Usually what will end up happening is if I'll see people post, hey, anybody have an extra tank or so and so, I'll reach out to them, say, hey, you know what, I got one here, come and get it. And sometimes how much you want for it? No, don't worry about it. Come and get it. We'll talk about it when you get here.
Sure.
They'll show up and then just take it, dude. You want some plants? You want some fish? Whatever you need. So it's just I've been very fortunate that I've received a lot through other people that I have no problem doing a little bit of giving back, and that's what I like, especially here in my community, because like I said, we're so isolated here in the hobby that I always get excited when I find a local hobbyist that's also kind of sick like me that's got more than one tank.
That was fun when I really entered, because let's be honest, there's a division between freshwater enthusiasts and reef tank enthusiasts. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you kind of cross paths a little bit. But when I first set up my tank, got it up and running, waited, did the thing. I remember I finished my final in school on that semester, and I was in a crawl space. This is a really weird story. So I do. Okay, there's got to be some context to this. I do plumbing. So I'm a plumber for a living. Do plumbing for a living now. Was in a crawl space working on a sump pump, taking a break in the where we were at. It was easier to just kind of plop down and take a break versus crawling our way all the way back out, squeezing out of the manhole and exiting the house. So I'm sitting in the crawl space. I'm on a local classified ad. I'm like, okay, like I've got a little bit of money in my pocket, like I can $50. Found a guy who was selling a beginner coral frag pack, 5 frags, $50. And in my brain, like, perfect. They're easy to keep corals. I like easy to keep corals. So I'm down in a crawl space messaging this guy. And my helper that day, he's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, oh, I'm some random dude I just met on a classified ad and I'm asking about coral. And his face just looked at me like I was just told him, like, yeah, I'm over here doing a line of coke and talking to Ellie. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm planning to go pick up coral later. He's like, do you go to school tonight? Like, yeah, my final tonight. So I went to school, took my final, passed the final. That guy was able to meet later that night, picked up the wife and kid, drove out to meet him. And I still remember going to his home, and you never know who's going to be on the other side of that door. And answers the door, we chat, beautiful reef takeoff in the corner, and then another reef takeoff in his kitchen. And I just made a comment. I'm like, oh man, I hope one day my tank looks like that. And you immediately saw the switch go off in his brain. He's like, how long you been in the hobby? Like, oh, I've been freshwater, 6 years, kept fish rooms. This is my first real attempt at a reef tank. And he's like, oh yeah? Well, what about this? Here, like, oh, I was gonna sell you this frag, but this one's bigger. I'll give you this one. Like, do you want this one? What about this one? And just the conversation just exploded into this guy was so excited that he had a true reef tank beginner at his house. And I tried to hand him more money. He's like, no, nope, $50 here. I'm like, dude, these frags are 3 times the size he's like, ever gonna find at a local fish store? Here. He's like, all I ask when they're big enough, teach yourself how to frag, pass them on. And I was like, this is what is so cool about the community of. I did the same when I broke down my Texas fish room. Daniel came over. I don't if you ever get a chance to talk to Daniel. Smart kid. I mean, just a whip of a kid. His dad's so proud of him. He loves his dad. He came over and he purchased some things for me. I gave him the very friends and family discount kind of a thing. But I remember just, what about this? Like, here, take this. Here, take this. And that enjoyment you get when you get to meet somebody that we don't know how we may have just affected their life of, wow, like Mexicali fish keeper, that's a rad dude. Like he just handed me this and this. And, that helped me get out of this depressionary state. That helped me get my tank set up. And so that's one thing I will always love about this hobby. That's why I get a little irritated when I see dumb comments on videos of, oh, I like it better when you did this. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry that I didn't focus in on you as a sole person. Like, what? I love this. If people don't want to watch me be weird on my first live stream back in how many months, like, don't watch. But everybody who's been, chatting, and I see the chat. I can't tell you how many times I've seen in the chat how people compliment you on, yeah, Mexicali fish keeper. He's a good dude. Like that has popped up in the chat so many times, and that's also the reason why I agreed to come on a live stream with you. I know who you are. I keep tabs enough, but I do the name. That's fun. Like that really is what this hobby should be about. Is first and foremost, do you enjoy your tanks? You do? Fantastic. Screw anybody else who doesn't like them. And then second and foremost, you get somebody that does like your tanks. How can you help them? Hey, do you want a trimming of that plant? That's a cool plant. You ever tried it? Nope. Here you go. It's that's what I miss. That's what I want. I do kind of want to try and get back in this fold. It's not to get free stuff. Please, nobody offer me free stuff. I'm not begging here, but I miss the conversations where I used to get some DMs of, "Hey, man, I'm having a trouble with this. What do you think about this?" It's I miss being able to nerd out like this. That's probably why I've talked way more than I should. Is I miss that nerdiness of somebody asked me about setting up a rice fish breeding rack. I haven't had the chance in months to talk to somebody like, okay, first and foremost, like you're gonna get this, then you're gonna do this, and then once this happens, you're gonna do this. I just kind of been off in my own little corner of the thing that thing's doing a thing. So
Well, it's funny because I know one of the things that I find fascinating about our community in general is everybody's so giving. I mean, real hobbyists, people that are not just consuming content and not really participating, they don't have aquariums. Those are the people you're usually going to finding something to nitpick and criticize and all that stuff. So I don't really take too much weight on whatever they have to say. But in general, this community as a whole, and this is being honest, I don't think I've met an a-hole yet. Everybody has been genuine. Everybody is happy to talk to you. Everybody's willing to help you with whatever it is they can do. I know for me, it's still real awkward when people want to buy stuff from me. I mean, yeah, I'll sell it because they're asking, but I usually end up giving them a lot more than because it's happened like what you get so excited that somebody's interested in what you have that you they end up walking away with a lot more than what they actually were bargaining for. But it's real easy for me to do that because people have always done that for me too.
mm-hmm.
So it's just it's one of those things about this community that is, yeah, okay, yeah, those plants are $5, but you're really getting those plants and these plants and those plants and those fish and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and but it's you don't feel bad about it. It actually brings a little bit of joy to be able to share some of what you have because I don't know how many times people have done that for me too. So that to me is what I really love about this community is the fact that everybody is kind of willing to help each other out. A lot of these fish that I've gotten here has been exactly that. I go and I'm gonna go buy this set of fish, and the guy will go like, "Whoa, I saw that you got some other aquariums. Would you be interested in this?" And then before you know it, you're walking away with 3 or 4 bags of different species that you weren't planning on buying, but just because you had a conversation with somebody, all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
they give you all this stuff. And and I think that's what's really special about this hobby because it's very few situations do I find myself where you go to buy something and you end up spending an hour and a half talking about the stupidest thing, like what triggers your fish to breed. How did you get these guys to lay eggs, or what did you do with the fry to raise them? I don't have those conversations when I go get a car repair. I go there, it's like, how much was it? All right, here you go. And I'm done. That's it. It's a transaction that's one and done. But anytime that it's been anything, whether it's all of a sudden you get there and it's like, oh, you have these fish, you have this aquarium. And before you know it, you've been at this person, a total stranger that you've never even met, spend an hour and a half just talking about the different fish and the different things that they have. And next thing you guys are exchanging numbers and keeping in touch with each other. And that has been my experience throughout this entire time. And that's really what I enjoy is the fact that I can, matter of fact, you're a perfect example of that. We have never exchanged a spoken word before. But yet, I sent out a text, you come on here, and talking to you is like, I've already talked to you before. There wasn't a need for a formal introduction and say, hey, my name is this. It's just like we were friends and we picked up a conversation that we had maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And it's like, and it's been like that with everybody that I've met through this platform. DJ Guppy is one of them. Funk is another one. The ones that I've had an opportunity to share a screen time with. Mark Pyle is another guy. People that I've never met. I've seen them in the chat. All of a sudden, we happen to share a screen because we happen to pop up in somebody's live. and we're just chatting it up
Mhm.
like if we've been buddies forever. And I only see that in this community. I don't see that anywhere else outside of this. In any other type of interactions that I have. I think it's just really the fact that I know you're weird like me and you keep these boxes. So that in itself is all the connection we need. And it's so weird. I've never felt awkward talking to another hobbyist when even there. As a matter of fact, perfect example is that, and I haven't seen him today, but yeah, on Instagram, is Garage Aquatics 2023. It's Ron. Ron's his name. Never met the guy. Show up at his house the other day to go pick up some crebences that he wanted to give me. I was going to buy them, but he wanted to give them to me. So, what we always do. I took some stuff that I thought he might find interesting
Mhm.
and exchanged it because I wasn't just going to go empty-handed. And we spent about 2 hours. I was supposed to film his fish room. That was kind of like the idea. You get there, you get to talking. Before you know it, you've already spent 2 hours. And it's like, I didn't do anything. So it's kind of like, I was so caught up in our conversations and what we were doing and what he was doing, his projects and all this and that. I never even thought about bringing out the damn phone and recording something. So I told him, he said, you know what? We'll make it a formal appointment later on down the road, and I'll come and get some content from you. But it's been like that with everybody that I've met so far, and that's what that's really the only thing that keeps me doing this is because I those moments that I've cherished so much that mean so much to me, and just being able to have that human connection with somebody else that happens to enjoy birds.
Well, I could stay on all night, but in
I
light
know.
of you might so 5-ish more minutes. I mean, like I said, I gotta go finish up floors and stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't
no,
want
no.
to take over by any means. But if there's any final questions you have for me or people in the chat, like I'll try and hash out a last couple questions or anything before I get out of here.
I don't know. Does anybody in the chat have a question that? I guess the biggest question is, will we see you a little bit more often?
On what platform?
I look. If anybody's like me, we follow you on wherever it is you're at, and like I said, it doesn't matter. You could pop up on Twitch, and if I know you're over there, I'm gonna go follow you. So it doesn't matter.
I would say right now your best chance of seeing anything that I'm doing with my new tank is going to be Instagram. Thank you very much for your moderators putting up my links there. So yeah, Instagram is definitely going to be um, the best one to follow me on right now. YouTube, I don't know. Maybe I will come out of left field and throw up a video about it because I thought about filming the building of my stand, but at the same time, it was very relaxing to figure out how to do it with my wife and not have a camera in my face. And honestly, I don't. It's one of those things too. Like I really don't know if I want to tell people how I built my stand because to. I like it. My wife's happy with it, but I'm not a carpenter by any means.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah. I think I'll come out of left field to YouTube video in the next few weeks. But Instagram's definitely right now where you're going to see me the most.
Yeah. The last one that I remember you doing with your family, I guess it was a Thanksgiving dinner that you guys were in the kitchen. Mandy's asking if you guys plan on doing anything like that as a family in the future.
Yeah, I think we used to. We really used to do it on Christmas Eve.
I know it's one of the holidays because I remember it was just a live stream from the kitchen. You guys were making cookies.
That you're right around Christmas. Yep, we did that for two years in a row because I know we did one in Oregon and we moved down to Texas. Like I enjoyed those. Those were fun. Those were fun. This year, I don't know. Honestly, I have to talk to Jordan. But the biggest thing is, our baby is going to be born anytime from like December 10th to just like Christmas. Like her due date is December 27th. And we've talked of like we're gonna do everything we can to not have a Christmas baby. So this year, honestly, we may be so wrapped up in a newborn that we may not be doing much of anything live stream wise on the holiday.
And Coral is saying, "Well done, peer pressure. Do a little stream or something about the dream rice fish rack. So there you go.
If we're going down the ropes of a dream rice fish rack, that's going to get very dangerous and very expensive very quickly. If we want to talk about just a functional rice fish rack, I will make a note of that. You say it doesn't, as Mexicali found out, it doesn't take a lot to entice me. It's just kind of timing, I have to say. So Coro, no promises, but yes, peer pressure definitely noted, because that would be a very fun live stream to do.
Well, sir, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule. It was a pleasure. I really had a good time. Hopefully you did too. And
This was
just,
awesome. Thank
it
you.
was just so nice to see you back again. You know, again, I understand life and family, but just it's cool that I've continued to, and then just sporadically you drop stuff here and there just to let us know that yeah, you're still doing good.
I'm still alive.
And enjoying the hobby. So thank you, sir, and thanks for taking the time to hang out. So I appreciate that very much.
Well, thank you again, and everybody in chat. Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good night.
And we'll see you guys soon. This Thursday, I have another guest. It'll be Sam. His name's Sam. He's scales. He's an artist that is pretty prevalent in the community. So he'll be on here to talk about not only some of his artwork, but also he gets involved with. I guess he's highly involved with Aquashella and some other big expos. And so we'll have a little conversation about that. So if you guys could swing by on Thursday, hopefully see you guys there. Well, sir, thank you so much, and we'll catch everybody the next time.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.